one of the main reasons people cling to irrational and ancient stories about the world, and why we're so inclined to identify with groups and institutions despite knowing that they're mental constructs, is that we know too much. We are literally cursed with the knowledge that there is more than we can know and more than we can affect, which makes it very hard to find and hold on to the kind of meaning that will strengthen and guide us throughout our lives. It's almost as if the more we know, the harder it is to accept things and to believe that anything matters and is worthwhile in an absolute and real way. In the past, nihilism and existential depression probably weren't as prevalent as they are today because we were dealing with more pressing concerns like constantly trying not to die. We also had more settled and concrete views about the world because we were only aware of a very small and limited universe. It's much easier to wrap your mind around a cosmos no bigger than your own town or the surrounding towns. It's a lot more difficult doing so when you're aware of a galaxy, a universe of unknown scale and scope, maybe a multiverse, and potentially even multiple dimensions higher than the three that we experience. We simply know too much today, and that leaves a person with almost nothing to logically and rationally give their efforts and their suffering the meaning that we all want to need. We all want to believe that our lives and what we do with our lives matters in the ultimate sense, because if something doesn't matter ultimately, it's hard to believe that it matters at all. And that right there is the issue with purpose, meaning, and motivation. Knowing that whatever we do will be erased by the hands of time and that we can never leave an indelible mark on this universe causes a big problem. I don't think there's a nice and easy way around this issue for any of us anymore, unless we're willing to bury our head in the sand and ignore objective truth. The more knowledge and understanding we acquire, the more perspective we're just going to be afforded to see the relative insignificance of all that we do and all that we could ever hope to do. A gift and a curse, really, and one that technology is helping spread around the entire planet right now. It used to only be the intellectually curious people like you and I that were cursed with knowledge this way, but thanks to this exponential increase in information bombarding the species, almost everyone is going to suffer the same fate that was really only reserved for the skeptic and the philosopher just 20 or 30 years ago, unless they have some strong faith or some strong cognitive defense mechanism, that is. If you're watching this video, it's almost certain that you're intellectually curious, so it's very important that you understand the disruptive potential of knowledge, or put another way, why so many people deliberately choose to remain ignorant. We should understand that this curse of knowledge can leave a person with a feeling of why do anything or how can anything matter, and that it's easy to get stuck there too. If we aren't careful, we can undermine all of our efforts and all of our endeavors with this understanding that nothing we do will matter in a consequential, ultimate way. This isn't to say, of course, that we can't live a good life and have great moments under this curse of knowledge, but it is to say that we can't live our best life burdened with a desire to do something so worthwhile and so meaningful that it will matter in a universal sense. To be clear, this curse ensures that the area we search for meaning will be expanded as our knowledge expands. From needing things to be meaningful in a platonic and familial sense to needing them to be meaningful to our community, our culture, maybe even our nation, our species and our planet, and ultimately the universe if we take things that far. The larger our mental arena, the harder it will be to find something worth wrapping ourselves in, and also the harder it will be to sustain meaning once we find it there. But this hex can be undone. We have the ability to remove this curse in a reasoned way by doing two things, in my opinion. The first, we shrink our world down to a manageable size. We say, this is where I draw the line, and everything outside of this line is inconsequential to me. Whether that line be at your own skin, your family, or with the planet Earth, it doesn't matter, just as long as you truly believe that you haven't shrunk your world too small to be meaningful. Now, obviously, this is arbitrary and it is subjective, but we should always remember that we have just as much of a right to draw a line where we see fit as any person or persons that have come before us. The other way, the harder way, and the way that I advise, is to increase your knowledge and understanding as much as you're capable of. Now, of course, this won't be easy, but if you're able to go far enough, if you're able to do this, you should arrive at a place where everything you experience and know is meaningful. With enough perspective, you should see yourself as inextricably intertwined with all of existence. So if you are connected to or impacted by all things, no matter how imperceptible those things might be, then everything is meaningful to you to some degree, in some form, and in some fashion. Stretching our minds to accommodate more and more information and knowledge, and really to encompass every conceivable reality, isn't something that we intuitively know how to do, but it is something that I have been and will continue to show you how to do on this channel, even if I don't always do it explicitly. I'm not just offering up intellectual candy here. This stuff is practically useful in life, although some of it is admittedly challenging. Things like cultivating an infinite perspective are not easy, but if you're able to do them, then you will become immune to the curse of knowledge, so you would think it would be worth a shot anyway. And also, if you're able to forego this limiting and small route of shrinking your world and take the expansive route instead, you will find that instead of more knowledge upsetting your hope for meaning, it will only serve to inform you about yourself and your world. Let me know what you think about this, of course. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Later.